All right, let's jump right in. We've all gotten pretty used to AI that can chat with us, write an email, maybe even spit out some code. But today, we're talking about the next giant leap. We're talking about AI that doesn't just talk, it acts. Welcome to the agentic era. So I want you to just think about this for a second. What if your AI assistant could actually operate your computer for you, manage your files, research a topic, and just keep working on tasks for days at a time all by itself? That is the huge shift we're exploring right now, the move from these passive chatbots to truly autonomous agents. Okay, so let's really break down what's changing. The chatbot era, which we're basically leaving behind, was all about the AI as an oracle. You'd ask it a question, and it would give you an answer. Simple. It was passive, it lived in the cloud, and it forgot everything the moment you closed the tab. The agentic era? Totally different ballgame. We're talking about AI as a daemon, a persistent program that's always running in the background. It's autonomous, it's working 24/7, and, this is key, it often lives right on your own machine. So think less like a search engine and more like a tireless personal employee who never sleeps.
Now, this whole revolution is really unfolding along two major paths. First, let's dive into the scrappy, kind of rebellious world of open source agents. And the poster child for this whole movement is this one project that has had a pretty wild ride. It started off as a little personal tool called Claudebot. Then it rebranded as Moltbook, went completely viral, and has now finally settled down into the much more professional-sounding OpenClaw. This chaotic but super fast evolution just shows you how much pent-up demand there is for this kind of tech.
And here is the thing that makes this approach so different. Its whole philosophy is local first. So instead of you uploading all your private data to some company's cloud, the AI comes down and lives on your machine. It gets direct access to your desktop, your documents, your browser, your entire digital life. And as you can imagine, this gives it an incredible amount of power, but as we're going to see, it also creates some massive risks. The way it's built is actually pretty clever and simple. You've got the gateway, which is like the agent's nervous system running on your computer. Then you have the brain, which is usually a big, large language model up in the cloud that does all the heavy thinking. And the real magic is in the skills. These are basically just plugins, kind of like browser extensions that you can install to teach your AI new tricks, like how to use your email or how to book a flight. Okay, so that's the open source world. But while they were busy building from the ground up, the big AI labs, they were coming at this from a completely different angle, developing their own polished, powerful, and way more centralized solutions. They call them operators, or computer-using agents, and their big breakthrough is honestly mind-blowing. They don't need special access or complex code to work with different software. They just look at your screen, just like a human does, and figure out where to point the mouse and what to click. And this right here shows you just how big of a leap that is. See, older automation bots, they had to read a website's underlying code, the DOM. The problem is, that's super brittle. The second a developer updates the website, the bot breaks. These new operator agents, though, they just see the screen as a stream of pixels. They can use any app, any website, it doesn't matter, because they're interacting with it visually, exactly like we do. It's so much more robust.
And of course, each of the big players has its own unique spin on this. OpenAI's operator is a pure vision model. Anthropic's version of Claude can see your whole desktop, so it can do things like copy-paste between different apps. And Google's Gemini is a hybrid. It uses vision, but it's also deeply baked into the Chrome browser, which gives it a little extra speed and reliability.
So, we have these incredibly powerful agents, but you might be wondering, how is this even affordable? An AI that's always on, running 24/7, that sounds expensive, right? Well, this is where a whole new class of AI models comes into play. This quote just nails the problem perfectly. Trying to use a top-of-the-line, genius-level model for some simple background task, it's like using a Formula One car to go get groceries. Yeah, it'll work, but it's insane overkill and costs a fortune. You need a different kind of engine for the day-to-day grind. And here's the solution. You have your expensive thinker models for the really complex stuff, but for everything else, you have these super cheap, super efficient worker models. We're talking models that cost just a tiny fraction of the big guys and are designed for simple, high-frequency jobs, like checking your inbox every hour. This two-tiered system is the economic engine that actually makes an always-on agent possible. So, we have an AI that lives on our machine, can see our screen, and can act on our behalf 24/7. The power is undeniable. But now, we have to talk about the flip side, the risk. Security researchers have a name for this. They call it the lethal trifecta. First, you've got access. The agent is running on your computer with your permissions. That means it can see your saved passwords, your private keys, your logged-in social media sessions, everything. It literally has the keys to your entire digital kingdom. Second, there's action. It's not just passively looking at your files. It has the ability to write new files, execute commands, and send any of your data anywhere on the internet. It can actually act on the access it has. And finally, the third piece, untrusted input. Your agent is constantly looking at information from the outside world, from emails, websites, other agents. Any single piece of that data could be malicious. It could be a trap, specifically designed to trick your agent into doing something destructive. So when you combine that total access, the power of action, and a constant stream of untrusted input, you've basically created the ultimate insider threat. And look, this isn't just a theory. The agent community got a massive wake-up call with the Moltbook data breach. This was supposed to be a cool, experimental social network for AIs to talk to each other, but its terrible security made all that theoretical risk terrifyingly real. The breach uncovered something both fascinating and, frankly, disturbing. The network claimed to have 1.5 million agents, but there were only about 17,000 human owners, an 88-to-1 ratio. It turned out this agent internet was mostly just huge fleets of bots, or sock puppets, run by a very small number of power users. But this was the number that really sent a chill down everyone's spine. The breach exposed 1.5 million private API tokens. That is a catastrophic security failure. In one shot, the keys to thousands of users' AI accounts, messaging apps, and cloud services were just out there. So the power is clear, and the danger is very, very real. The final question then is, what do we do about it? How do we make this technology safe? How do we tame this wild new frontier?
Well, the security community is moving incredibly fast on this. The main strategies are all about sandboxing. You can run the agent in a locks-down container, basically a secure little box. You can move the riskiest parts of its thinking to a secure cloud server, away from your personal files. And you can create strict lists of which websites it's even allowed to talk to.
But at the end of the day, here's the most crucial point. The technology to build these incredibly powerful agents is moving at lightning speed. We're getting there. What we're still building, and what's turning out to be much, much harder, is the security framework and the social rules we need to actually be able to trust them.
Which leaves us with the final question, and it's a personal one for you to think about. These agents are coming. They will have access to everything you do on a computer. So the question is, are you ready to hand over the keys? Thanks for watching.